What you were telling us a while ago about your first car.
Well, there was a guy who lived next door to us, had a 38 Ford two-door sedan, had it for sale for cheap, and I was going to buy it. Daddy said no, couldn't have no Ford. Well, I was working for Missouri County Precinct 4. I was working as a swamper on a bulldozer for Ed Ainsworth, and he had a 37 Chevrolet. He sold it to me for $65. And I think everybody in the world ought to own one Chevrolet so they'll know better than to own another one. I walked alongside that thing more than I ever rode in it. And if I wanted it to go anywhere with me, I had to push it or pull it. So there was a kid at school that had a 35 Ford two-door sedan. He loved that 37 Chevrolet the way I stripped it down and painted it. He just had to have it. He saved me that 35 Ford and $20 to boot. I went to riding, he went to walking. Turned out it was my daddy's boss's son that had this car. My daddy came home and told me I had to take it back. So we go out there to his house with the car, and boy, that guy was mad at that boy for getting that Chevrolet. And he says, Daddy told him, said, we're bringing the car back. And he said, no. Said, he made the deal, he's gonna live with it. Said, your son didn't do nothing, he didn't take advantage of him. He said, my son's the one who wanted this thing. So he said, I paid for everything that was done on this 35 Ford, but said he's gonna pay for everything on this 37 Chevrolet. So that was the end of that stuff.
So is that the only Chevrolet you've ever owned?
Only one I've ever owned and only one I ever will own. There will never be another General Motors car with my name on the title, period. Or Chrysler product either.
So I take it Ford is the only thing you're going to drive?
That's the only thing.
All right, so we know you have a love of cars and that. So tell us about your first car, your actual first car you ever painted, and how well that went over.
Me and Leroy Bamers played hooky from school one day. Went down to the hardware store.
How old were you?
Oh, I was about 15. Went down to this hardware store. We bought us a can of yellow paint, bright yellow, and blue paint, and some paint brushes. And we went out, we didn't even sand this thing down. We didn't do anything to it. We just went out there and wiped it off and painted the bottom. I think the bottom was blue from the molding down, belt molding down. And then from the belt molding up, we painted it yellow. And it didn't dawn on me that I did not own this car until I drove in the driveway and I said, ooh, crap. I painted this car and it ain't mine. Wow. I sat in the backyard when Daddy came home and seen it. God almighty.
So did it stay that color?
It stayed that color until we got rid of it. He didn't want no fender skirts or nothing like that on it, but I ordered a set of fender skirts anyway. And I put them on there. He didn't like white wall tires, but I went down to the hardware store. Back then you could buy rubberized white wall paint. And I painted those tires white walls.
So this is in 50, 51?
Yeah, about 50. Right about 51. Yeah, because that's when Daddy started getting sick.
What was your occupation most of your life?
Painting body man most of my life.
What was the first car you ever painted for a living?
Oh, for a living. I worked up there at Rosenstock Motors with my uncles, my Uncle Ralph, my Uncle Robert, my Uncle Woody. And we used to do a lot of used car lot work. And back in the 50s, they were just starting the two-tone and stuff around 54, 55. Two-toning was really getting popular. And some of the cars on the used car lot wouldn't move because they were solid colors. Two-tone them, they would sell. So we went over there and we got a 50 model Plymouth off the used car lot and brought it over there and was going to paint the top white. So it's my job to get them ready, get them sanded, taped up, and in the booth, and ready for my Uncle Robert to go in and paint. So they took off to go eat lunch. When they left to go eat lunch, I went in there and got the spray gun, went in there and mixed up in paint, and I painted that roof white. Woo! Uncle Robert was hot, boy. He was throwing a conniption fit. Uncle Ralph hollered at him. He said, "What you hollering about in there?" He said, "Sonny painted this roof while we was gone to lunch." Ralph said, "Well, let me look at it." He went in there and he said, "Damn, you ought to let him paint all of them." He said, "Looks better than yours." And it made Robert that much madder.
So, I mean, is there one car that you had painted that really stands out or anything like that?
I'm going to have to say probably Dave Sherman's 55 customized Mercury that I painted. That car won many, many, many trophies. And then I've had several other cars since then has won best paint at shows and have won many, many trophies.